Hey guys, welcome to another review here on the Inner Sanctum, the Noctilucan channel. As I mentioned in my updates and future plans video, I wanted to try doing a review that was separate from the Inner Sanctum because, well, I guess it's sort of a homework thing for me. I want to see if you guys like single solitary reviews or if you prefer that episode format. And this is just me like I said, it's me doing my homework. I'm just curious to see what happens. I want to see if the episode format gets more views, or if the single solitary reviews here gets more views and attention. It's just purely research, just to see what happens. And also the reason why I'm doing this review outside of the Inner Sanctum format is because this particular artist has already been reviewed twice before in Inner Sanctum. And I feel like I really just want to, at this point, save the Inner Sanctum for artists that are not necessarily new to the scene, but just artists that I haven't reviewed on the Inner Sanctum yet. I want to keep that more exclusive stuff and just totally new projects each time, or, mostly new, And, yeah, I want to just, keep reviewing new albums, because I want that to eventually be, become a show, an episode, where each episode you're discovering something new, something you haven't heard about. There's no point in just reviewing the whole North Haunt discography, for example. I mean, I love the Dukes, I love all their records, but it gets to the point where, like, alright, that I love North Haunt, and that I'm gonna give a positive review, so why review every single one of his albums, right? So anyway, divergent as usual right from the get-go. I'm here to talk about a new album from a project that has been reviewed on the Inner Sanctum two times already. This would be the third time this artist's been reviewed on this channel. And the artist in question is Moloch Conspiracy and their new album, Baclou. Moloch Conspiracy, as you may recall, has been reviewed in episodes, I think, 11 and 6. And totally favorite reviews every time. I really love this French project from Julien Lacroix. Everything this guy does is just really awesome. He does just brilliant, dark, horror, cinematic, dark ambient, and he's fantastic at it. And then Baclou, which I tried researching that word, I couldn't figure out what the meaning of it was, so I'm guessing it's just a French word or something. I don't know. So I don't know what the word actually means, but this is he kind of takes dark ambient into a place I don't think I've seen it before, and it's really interesting because it's a place I wouldn't necessarily associate with dark characteristics, but Julien has now taken the listener to this dark place, and it's really impressive. So, just to read a little something from the booklet here to give you an idea. This album was inspired by my trip to French Guiana. I made these soundscapes for my recordings and made there in August of 2018. I added some musical experiments and mixed instruments, cello, djembe, malaka, and disordered piano. And I'm guessing the bulk of this record is just really made up of field recordings, just heavily processed. I think he took a very similar path as like what Par Boostrom does with the Camera project and a lot of other projects, where it's just he heavily processes all these field recordings into these dark soundscapes, and then he added these other instruments. As a side note, I don't actually know what a malaka is. I searched the word and I could find no evidence of it being a musical instrument. And when the main thing that came up when I searched the word is that it's a Greek slang word that means like obsessive masturbator or a jerk off. So I don't know what the hell a malaka is, but he used it in this album. So there you go, I guess. But what I really like about this album is that he takes you to the jungle, and I don't immediately associate the jungle with a dark place, but then again, I've never been to a real jungle or a rainforest, so I wouldn't know what to anticipate. But when you really start thinking about it, I mean, there's a lot of horrible shit in a rainforest or a jungle. I mean, there's all kinds of wild animal. There's fucking bugs that could probably sting you and you'd be dead within the 30 minutes. There's snakes and all that kind of stuff. So if you really think about it, it actually is a pretty dark, foreboding place. And like I said, I don't think any artist has ever, covered this territory before. And it's interesting to, take this journey into this dark, forbidden rainforest jungle. And oh, holy cow, I see that. Guyana is in Africa, I believe. So he took quite a journey from France to go all the way to Africa, and I don't exactly know exactly where in Africa it is, but I guess I don't really know much about Africa now that I think about it. I guess in my mind, my main thing is I sort of think of like, I guess just like the jungles and it being very, perhaps the underdeveloped part of the world. I don't really know. I guess I should probably spend some time researching it just to kind of find out more about Africa. I don't really know. And I mean, other than that, some people say that, you know, humans we started in Africa, that's where we all came from and we spread out, but who knows? There's a lot of mystery around this continent, and I probably should spend some time more, you know, researching and getting to know it and everything. So anyway, this album, upon first listen, it really just kind of feels like it's a more chilled album, but after a few more listens, it really is actually a very dark horror cinematic album, much like the rest of the Moloch Conspiracy discography, and it's interesting because, you know, like, I guess it just makes me wonder what he experienced when he was there. I mean, I wonder if he was living in like this trip was in a more rural area where he was exposed to the elements, or where he may have encountered some wild animals and stuff like that. This is just really curious stuff that made me, you know, really wonder about what happened there. And I don't know if this was just a vacation he took just for pleasure, or, you know, it's for exploring or what. But it's really interesting. So I'll read this from the Digipack here. The jungle reveals itself in torpor and consumes our consciousness like the waves that burst on this island where I have been locked up for months. Everything is mixed, the streams in the forest, the huts orange, when the fire invades the palisades and transforms the darkness of the night into a purple feast stained with dull lights. I cannot say what I saw. The atrocity of these visions and the heat has transformed me forever. I only remember a few sensations, some images. So it sounds like through this album, he's trying to create this character who I think was either lost in the rainforest, the jungle, or may have even been a prisoner. So it's really interesting, and this album really takes you into this character's mind and his experiences along the way. And the music on here is everything from dark ambient, deep droning dark ambient, to more drones kind of sounding stuff too. And there's, as usual, a great usage of field recordings mixed in over what I believe is already heavily processed field recordings. He also uses the instruments, which really add an extra special dimension to the record too. I mean, like the song "Fever," for example. There's the slow tribal drumming from the djembe drum. I think that's what the djembe is. I think it's like a small, well, I don't actually know, but I believe it's a percussion instrument anyway. And it's featured in this song, and it really adds this sort of unsettlingness to this particular song. It like makes you feel like there's someone coming at you, or might be stalking you in the night or something. It really brings up these interesting images in your mind. Like I've always said about dark ambient music, I think to a point you have to have a very deep and creative mind, because if you're just some normal person that doesn't really think deeply or anything like that, you won't get it. So that's kind of, just the feeling on this album, and very immersive, very atmospheric soundscapes going on in this record, and to be just sort of transported to this deep, dark, haunting forest is a really special feeling. It's, like I said, not one I haven't felt in a dark ambient album before, and I think it's ground that other artists should consider exploring, but only if they've actually taken that real journey in their life, because I feel like it would be hard to really recreate these sounds unless you've heavily researched that particular area of the world, or you've been there yourself. And just when you listen to this album, it really, like, I don't know, I guess I just think back to movies, and for some reason the first movie that comes to mind is that old movie from the mid-90s called Congo with the talking ape. Amy Green Drop! It brings that movie to mind, which is okay. I mean, it's a pretty good movie. I mean, those killer apes, I mean, I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14 years old when that movie came out, I guess. It was a little scary when I was a kid, I guess, or a young teen, I don't know, but yeah, those fucking apes, man. It reminds me of those apes in those caves and those temples, and it's just, man, it's freaky stuff when you really think about it, because like I said before, the jungle is a forbidden territory. Not all of it's explored, and there's a lot of jungle in this world, especially in Africa and South America. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been explored, so you know, there is a lot of menace and a lot of haunting things that could be in there. So many animals and insects that can just kill you so quickly. So again, this is just a really deep, immersive record, and you know, there is some experimental tendencies here and there, but nothing that I would consider like to be too abrasive for dark ambient and drone and industrial fans. You know, this is something that should be common ground. It's nothing that's going to make your ears ring or anything. But there is a little bit of experimentation in this album here and there. But you know, all in all, just great stuff. Moloch Conspiracy has released 3 albums, and it's interesting to note that this album was once again released by 8th Tower Records. He did jump to Noctavagon for his current album, and of course his first album was on 8th Tower Records. So I don't know if 8th Tower just didn't like the last album, or if Moloch Conspiracy has been producing this material so much that 8th Tower couldn't keep up. But it's good to see him back on 8th Tower Records, because 8th Tower Records is a great label, and they released a lot of cool stuff this year and the past couple of years. And Rafael Pezzella is just a cool dude, and he really, he knows how to pick some great dark ambient. Keeps the label going strong. There's just strong release after strong release. He's a really great dude, and he's got a good insight and a good taste in dark ambient music. And I'm glad to see Moloch Conspiracy is back on 8th Tower Records. So all in all, this is awesome soundscapes here. This is stuff that's gonna take your mind, and if you close your eyes and I always say this kind of stuff, like if you're into, if you like, trance-inducing kind of stuff, and if you're into, psychedelic drugs or something like that, I think this would be an awesome record to experience under those conditions. I think it would really, you could really, just lose this body for a while and go into that jungle and experience something really special here. Even though it is a little scary, it's definitely a journey I've enjoyed taking, and I think you guys should consider taking it too. So that is Moloch Conspiracy's Baclou. Alright, so a quick look at the artwork of Baclou. I'm not totally sure of the pronunciation. So on the front cover we have what appears to be a cottage in the jungle, a shelter of some sort. It's very ominous and dark and shadowy kind of thing going on here, but it just helps the mind to wander and just take you to this dark, forbidden place that I've already talked about. And the jungle theme is, of course, continuing the back here with the track listing and all of the other kind of shady, green, jungly kind of atmosphere to this one. And then the inside panel here, which has a little passage I read earlier, as well as information and the good old thank you list. And the CD itself, which you can see there, which more trees, and it's Pro CDR, and then more vegetation and leafy green stuff on the tray card here. So, like I said, just a fantastic release, well worth checking out. That is Moloch Conspiracy's Baclou.